Hello, Ghana and the rest of the world. Thank you so much for making time with me. As usual, I invade your private space, whether on your smartphone or your laptop or your desktop or your iPad or any form of electronic gadget you are using to share a few thoughts on what benefits us as a people, citizens of the Republic of Ghana, and what I deem necessary and beneficial to humanity at large. And I'm going to talk briefly about doing things in the national interest of your country. What do you do? Are you a fireman? Are you a police officer? Are you a banker? Are you a janitor? Are you a politician? Are you a teacher? What are the things you do in the national interest? Of course, when we do things to serve this great republic, when we do things to serve humanity, then we'll be able to beat our chests and say we are patriotic citizens of whichever country we belong to, and in our case, the Republic of Ghana. When you do things in the national interest, you are not greedy. Avarice is not an integral part of doing things in the national interest. When you do things in the national interest, you would retire when your time is due, so you give the opportunity to young people that are fresh pairs of slaves to continue the good work you would have started. When you do things in the national interest, you don't call government work Abanye Juma. It's not my father's work. It's not my father's business. So you go to work at the time you wish and close when you like. There are people who say, okay, why? And does Ghana belong to me? So they report to work very late and leave early. So the question I'm asking myself and asking you is, do we do things in the national interest? How can there be the needed attitudinal change? So whatever we do with the strong conviction that if this country has been bequeathed to us in not the best of shapes, how do we bequeath it to those that come after us in a better shape? So I ask, do you do things in the national interest? How would you want to beat the system, cut corners, take bribes, just because you want a better livelihood at the expense of the state? Do you and I do things in the national interest? If we do things in the national interest, then we will safeguard the integrity of the Republic of Ghana and do things to satisfy it, rather than do things for our own selfish parochial needs. So let's endeavor. We can't be perfect. As I sit here, I'm not perfect. You aren't perfect as well. But when we make an effort every now and then to try to be better, then we can say that yes, we are doing things in the national interest. There is so much indiscipline in the system. I'm indisciplined, so are you. Laid down procedures we should follow, we don't. Things we need to do right, we don't. So we always crave to travel to another man's land, when in fact we can make our own land, our own country, as good as the other countries we cherish and we relish traveling to. So do you do things in the national interest? Let's all go out to do the best we can for the Republic of Ghana. Put aside this unhealthy partisanship. I always, wish for a day we'll have technocrats from across the political divide, senior citizens from across the political divide, politicians, despite their differences in ideology. I wish for a day we all come together as one people. Do you know how much we can gain as a people if we come together? Do you know the level of prosperity and progress we'll bring to the Republic of Ghana if we were to come together? We don't do things to project the interest of the state. Whatever little thing we do in our little corners, we do for personal gain. How can we do things in the national interest? We are so aggressive in the pursuit of our personal gains. People defraud to make money. People kill to make money. People cheat to make money. People bribe and get bribed to beat the system. So how can we have a paradigm shift in the way we look at things as a people? Our chiefs have a role to play in that regard. Our religious leaders, they have a role to play in that regard, in our pursuit of the bigger national interest, which is for our own collective good as a people. The youth, we have a role to play. Opinion leaders at all levels, community level leaders, have a role to play. Let's try our best. Sometimes you sit back and you think of how you and I are so aggressively chasing materialism. There are people that have flourished to an extent. They have so many houses. That is good. But when you have to do things at the detriment of the state, to have 2 or 3 mansions, in how many of those houses do you sleep? Have you asked yourself, has there been a single day you've been able to occupy 2 rooms in a night? Even in one room, do you occupy the whole of your king-size bed? You don't. And when you do things at the detriment of the state, and you make so much filthy money, how much of it goes into your system? Have you ever gone to a restaurant and ordered all the food there and eaten it? Have you ever gone to a restaurant to eat 10 bowls of food or 10 plates of food? Have you ever gone to a restaurant and said you've bought all the food that has been lined up for buffet, so you are going to eat everything, even though the money you have stolen from the state can afford that? You only order a plate, and only a few people are able to finish a plate. When you order a drink, you don't go beyond 1 or 2 bottles of drink or drinks. Do you order a carton of drinks when you go to a restaurant? Because it's unnatural for a human being to have more than what nature has dictated you should have. So why worry yourself? Do things at the detriment of the state. Our needs are insatiable. People want more. They keep wanting more. When in fact, when you satisfy your basic needs as a human being, it is peripheral. It's tangential. What other things you need to want to have to yourself? So let's all go out. Yes, we aren't perfect. We fall every now and then. We go wrong every now and then. But if we have a strong conviction based on principle to do things in the national interest, we'll be able to cut off some of the excesses this nation is suffering from. It is an eyesore for you to have so much when there are hungry people out there. It is an eyesore for you to hit every intersection or a traffic light and see these little boys and girls who take breakfast with no hope of where lunch is coming from. It is an eyesore when one person cheats the system and builds multiple houses while there are homeless people sleeping out in the streets. Why don't we learn collectively to do things in the national interest? So my message to you, my admonition to myself and to you today is simple. No matter how much we do things at the detriment of the state, no matter how many buildings we put up as a result of that, a human being can only occupy as much as one room per night. And within the room, you are not even big enough to occupy every space. You occupy only a tiny fraction of your bed. So why worry yourself? How much food do you eat in a day? You can't eat a quarter of a bag of a cereal in a day. So why bother yourself? Do things to hurt this country and its people. Do things to hurt the future of the Republic of Ghana. Let's all learn to do things in the interest of the state. Thank you so much for your time.